Hello, welcome back. I am in Columbia of Bioshock Infinite. And what we're going to be looking at right now, it is a very beautiful city. I will give the game that credit, even though it's not my favorite game to play. But what we shall be looking at is how civilizations fall. And just very, very basic looks at kind of the, I suppose you might call them sociological issues that lead to civilizations falling, and use Columbia as a bit of an example. And these are just very basic look at it, and I'm gonna basically just talk about two things. The first is exclusivity. Yeah, that's a hard word to say. You try it sometime. Exclusivity. You can probably say it really well, and I don't. And the second one is hedonism. So, let's start with exclusivity. So, yep, they're doing that. So, it's very easy to see why Columbia might be an exclusive place. It's isolated. You have to get to the lighthouse, and then you are literally up in the sky. Okay, I just have to ask the question. I've always wondered this. How do they actually breathe up there? I mean, there's no sign of a force field or anything like that. So I don't know how they breathe when they move around up there. There's not that much oxygen up there, people. What are pigeons doing up here this high anyway? Rats with wings, got her. Anyway, it is a very exclusive place. It's hard to get to. It's isolated from other people. You have to essentially join the religion to get in there, which makes it more of a cult rather than a civilization. Or a city. It's not open to the public at all. Yep, pilgrims welcome. And of course the doors are locked. That's actually a very good example of that, what I'm trying to say. Doors are locked because everybody's somewhere else, but it's a good example. Not only that, but only certain types of people are accepted here. There are 3 types of people that are discriminated against in this game. I love the electronic horses. I think they're really cool. So, there's a victory parade going on. The 3 types of people. People of African descent are not accepted here. People of Asian descent are not accepted here. Although they only mention Chinese, I believe. I don't believe they mention any other Asian descent type. But people from China are not accepted, in particular. And people of Irish descent are not accepted either. And yeah, they have. It is essentially, it's a segregated society.
Picking the right event to attend on a day like today. So,
different bathrooms for each person. So that is a sure sign. It's exclusive. Only certain types of people are accepted. Nothing in the barrel. Certain types of people are accepted within this society. And that is never a good thing. So, there's an honor system, and I can actually steal from there. I can eat cake. I can pick up health kit. Those are always good to have. Cake. Sweet banana. Let's see.
Here you go.
Yep. So you can do it honestly, although that doesn't really seem to make a difference in this game. Or you could steal everything from there. So, very interesting that way. But, yeah, it's a very exclusive area, and that ultimately is one of those factors that lead to downfall. If a civilization is completely isolated, is completely exclusive. Okay, and an interesting point that you learn about Rapture, Columbia, is that they're messing with time and space. This song, for those of you who know, is actually a Beach Boys song. So so the words they took, so they're messing with time and with different realities and dimensions and stuff. So that makes it interesting, I think. Anyway, let's go explore some more. But yes, a very isolated community, isolated civilization. Can't grow, can't change, can't enter in new ideas, and in fact, and in this case, they completely and totally...
We're raising money for the Girls' Patriotic League.
Maybe next time.
You look dashing with one in your lapel. Come back if you change your mind.
Yep. So, a lot of people talking to me and stuff. Very confusing. But yeah, it's an isolated civilization. They reject a lot of things considered to be inferior. So there's a... Oops. A lot of things that are considered to be inferior are rejected by this society. So that's not just people, but the culture they bring, what they think, how they act is rejected. It may be very American, but, you know, I happen to like Chinese food as well, so since there's a very good chance I would not be able to get, you know, sweet and sour chicken here, which is one of my favorite. It's very delicious. So yeah, it can't grow, it can't expand, it can't progress in any way, shape, or form. Or let me rephrase that: it can progress, but it can't. It can progress, but it can't progress in a manner. It can only progress in a negative manner. Let's just say that. Ugh, I cannot think of how to phrase that. So yeah, civilization. It's basically it's stuck in neutral and rolling. And if it gets anywhere, that's not going to be a good thing.
Don't turn into some faint and radical on me, John. I do not want to be some character out of I Married a Vox Populi, now do I?
Yeah. And strange dialogue.
Yeah, that's where they said I'd find her.
Yep, Monument
Telegram,
Island.
Mr. DeWitt. Telegram for you, sir.
Interesting.
DeWitt, stop. Do not alert Comstock to your presence. Stop. Whatever you do, do not pick number 77. Stop. Thanks.
So yeah, another mysterious thing going on. I'm gonna throw this in. So there's a silver dollar. I'm gonna throw this in as another sign that your civilization is probably not doing well, even though I didn't mention it at the beginning. So, looks nice there. Let's take a look through the telescope and look down, and wow, there's the Lutesses, and they're not there. So ghosts or ghost-like apparitions are not are a sign that a civilization is probably, or an area I should say, is probably not doing well. Ghost stories generally come out of something bad happening. So it sounds funny, but it is a very true thing. It's if there's a ghost stories, if there's all these stories of horrible things happening in an area, it's probably not the best area. And once you get through, start playing the game, what happened with the Lutesses and why they're essentially ghosts is a major part of what's going on here. So, regardless, we're going to move to the second part, which is hedonism. Now, since this is essentially a religious cult, it may seem a little bit odd
Good day to you, sir. Hello.
to think of this as hedonistic in any way or shape or form. But the truth of the matter is, in a lot of cults, you do encounter a certain degree of hedonism. Yep, that looks healthy right there. Anyway. I'm gonna have some peanuts. I like peanuts. But hedonism, in a lot of religious cults, there is hedonism. There's hedonism at the top, the people who organize it. There's also hedonism involved with the people. They're essentially a part of hedonism. This is going to sound a little odd.
You gonna let me through here, pal?
Street's closed for your safety, fella. They're prepping tonight's fireworks festival.
But hedonism, a part of hedonism is giving up your freedom to be able to participate in it, and that's essentially what you do in cults.
These amazing wonders. Praise be
So.
to our prophet, and praise be to our fair city.
So, yep, there's all the abilities you can get with Vigors.
If
Yeah,
I
some
told
images
you
of
a
figures
man
up there.
could shoot lightning from his fingers
So.
now, would you
yeah,
believe me?
hedonism occurs
If I
quite a
told you
bit
what?
in these sort of civilizations.
Roll up and try the amazing power of bucking bronco. Whether you need it lifted, lofted, tossed, or
So,
tumbled,
yep,
bucking
so
bronco is just legit.
this is a good
Find
example
the
of
devil, good
hedonism.
sir, and cast him out. Do you have what it
So,
takes?
so yeah, this is kind of the hedonistic.
And there's devil number one.
This is the hedonistic powers that you're getting in this place.
Devil number two. Woo,
You're
he's
given all
on a
these
roll.
great, exceptional powers.
And that's three. We
So-
have a winner. Here you go, friend. And remember, if you need it lifted, lofted, tossed, or tumbled, bucking bronco is your answer.
So, yeah. So, like I said, hedonism. And that the vigors they have in this game, which give you the special abilities, are a good example of that hedonistic type approach to it. You get all these wonderful powers and abilities and so on, and you can indulge in that sort of thing. And then, so you can live forever in these metallic bodies. Doesn't seem like a good thing right there. So, yep, hedonism. I'm hoping to get, there's a certain thing I'm looking for, and I'm not having much luck finding it at the moment. But it, yeah, it's around somewhere. Yes, hedonism, the reason hedonism doesn't really work in a civilization, why it causes civilizations to fall apart, is that people begin to care more about what they want as opposed to what they can do to help people around you. I think a good example of this concept and idea, it comes from one of the great speeches by John F. Kennedy, where he says, ask not what you can get. Ah, here we are. This is where I was coming to. Pretty good side of hedonistic society. Children, these are, 10 or 11-year-olds sneaking off and smoking off behind the shed, and, not actually doing anything when when an adult comes and looks at them. They're not saying, giving excuses or anything like that. This is apparently an acceptable thing for kids to do. Go off to the side, smoke, and do that. And that's, not an appropriate action for children. And then just search the trash can. So, yep, that's the hedonistic approach. Anyway, what John F. Kennedy said was, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. And that's kind of the attitude of a civilization that can help people out. That's a non-hedonistic civilization where people have to pull together, have to work together, and really have to be friends with each other. And that's what builds a strong civilization, is the family, the friends, the unity. What builds a bad civilization is hedonism and only caring for yourself. So, in review, hedonism is bad for civilization. It's good to have fun, and it's good to have, playtime, but it's also not good to just completely and totally indulge in everything you possibly can. Like smoking. Smoking is very unhealthy for you. And, as well, as more exclusive a society becomes, the more isolated they are from other cultures, and really they become more isolated from reality. Of course, Rome can't possibly fall, and it fell within a day. These happen historically, and there are a lot of civilizations now that are very hedonistic, and are very close to, if they were invaded, they would just fall immediately. So, yep, those are kind of some examples. I'm going to give this as an example of hedonism. First off, I can't get through that machine, but if I take the sample, I'll be able to get through the machine, so consider that just a normal gameplay thing, or consider it, just a really odd thing about this culture. So, Now, notice her attitude, how she's shaping. She's very flirtatious, and that's another sign of hedonism, despite the fact this is an apparently religious civilization. And this is what happens when you grab the possession.
Just a whisper. They're all ears.
So very that. So yes, it's one of those weird, interesting effects. You get them in this game whenever you pick up a new vigor. For the record, the voices you heard has been played back by
What the hell was that?
Yeah, was played back by a lot of gamers, and it turns out to be lines from the play Romeo and Juliet. And so there's a great deal of romantic thing, and the design of the bottle has this sort of hedonistic feel to it. It's actually kind of creeps me out, I'll be honest. That's the one that creeps. A lot of the other ones are like gross and disgusting. But so basically I just possessed the machine to let me through. And here are the Lutesses.
Come on,
But yeah, there you get a weird effect with each vigor, sorry. And so
Told you. I never find that as satisfying as I'd imagined.
Chin up. There's always next time.
I suppose there is.
yep, there's the heads and tails. Weird thing going on there. But yeah, you get a weird effect with the vigor, that each vigor you take, and some of them are really actually rather bloody, icky, gory, grotesque, that sort of thing. Okay, I was wondering why I was crouching. But that's the one, the first one, Possession, disturbs me the most. It allows you to take over machines. Oh, and for the record, that's the probability thing, heads and tails. It's an interesting fact about flipping a coin, provided the coin is equally balanced. No matter how many times you flip it, you have a 50% chance of it coming up heads or a 50% chance of it coming up tails, and it doesn't matter what becomes. In theory, you can flip it 100 times and have it come up heads. Just an interesting little thing. That's essentially what they were doing, just to explain that. Anyway, that's a quick look at Columbia, and really why it's... Yeah. As you can see, if you play through this game, Columbia does fall rather horribly and violently, and... Yeah, what you do in the game is a good chunk of doing that, but as you can see, it's pretty much... I'm going to use the word ripe for destruction, because there are things that precede the destruction of a civilization. And we've talked a bit about both of them, and like... So yeah, keep that in mind when you're looking at civilizations, when you're studying history and about civilizations that have fallen, and remember history so that you'll know. You'll be able to see what the future holds. Not the exact details, but the generalities. Oh yes, that weird thing happens too whenever you have a vigor. I wish I had a different vigor. So, yep. Look, isolated civilizations and hedonism are a big feel of why civilizations fall. Even great ones that live in the sky. Yeah. Oh yeah. Just thought of another pun. This is Columbia, for all of its greatness of civilization, has its head in the clouds. Like and subscribe if you like this. Like and subscribe if you like the pun. And I will see you in the next playthrough.